Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to Coffee and Sports. This is the morning show powered by Wire to Wire Network. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak, and to my right is the man that knows better. It's Mo Better. What's poppin', Mo?
Hey, good morning, Gene. Good morning, chat. Let's go.
Let's get it. Got to start last night with a little buzzer beater action. The Golden State Valkyries held a 14-point lead headed into the fourth quarter. And the top seed, Minnesota Lynx, in the words of my man Mo Better, walked them down. Started with Napheesa Collier hitting a 2-point shot, then a turnover, then a layup, then a rebound, then a DiJonai Carrington 3-pointer. They cut the lead from 14-7 in just 3 minutes. They went on a very quick 10-0 run, got that lead all the way down to 3. And, Golden State hung around for a little while. They were there. They're scrappy. But Napheesa Collier and the Minnesota Lynx are the only team to advance to the round 2-0. Judging by your name today, Mo, I would love to know your thoughts on how that transpired for you. When you watched that game, what broke down?
First of all, the word scrappy is used a lot for the Valkyries, but they are just a really good, well-coached basketball team. And they make you, when they can, they make you play a grinded out physical style of game. That's right up their alley. And I think there was a point in the game where they had just outworked. They had outworked Minnesota. They were getting the 50-50 balls. They were more physical. They were quicker to the ball. And they had control of the game. And I was sitting here watching this, like they're gonna pull this off. And I felt like Napheesa Collier and company, they just turned it up a notch. Defensively, offensively, a lot more aggressive, taking the ball to the basket. I thought Fee was kind of like cruising most of the game. And once it got really tight and they realized they were coming back from that deficit, she stepped it up. She showed you why she's one of the 2 best players in the W.
That wasn't what happened the whole night in the W. A beatdown occurred in New York. An absolute beatdown occurred in New York. The New York Liberty, after winning game 1 in Phoenix, went home to New York with the opportunity to close out the series, and that is not what happened whatsoever. Breanna Stewart exited the game late in game 1 with an injury. Then Liberty still found a way to hold on and win game 1. Game 2, Breanna Stewart played, but it didn't matter because Phoenix was hitting it from everywhere. Alyssa Thomas, and listen, my girl Kahleah Copper, Satou Sabally. Phoenix took them out to the woodshed. Talk about Phoenix versus New York, Mo.
I honestly did not see a beatdown coming. I really thought it was going to be a close back and forth game that the Liberty would find a way to pull out. Give Phoenix credit. They're a really good basketball team. And I really thought they did a good job of moving the basketball and showing that they're the quicker, more athletic team. And I get it. Stewie was on the court. And she's an all-time great, but I think she's starting to show a little sign of her age. The injuries are piling up. She seems to be a little bit step slower on both ends of the floor. I don't know if the Liberty survived this series because I think the Phoenix is the deeper squad.
I said that before the series. You remember when we talked about?
You did.
We were talking about previewing. We were previewing Aces Liberty. Lynx versus Liberty. Before the series started, I'm like, I love the way Phoenix plays basketball. I think Phoenix can take it from New York. I think they'll win game 3 in Phoenix. And I think Phoenix is a terrible matchup for Minnesota. So do not be surprised if you're seeing Phoenix in the WNBA conference finals. Just my personal opinion. I love the way they play basketball. I love the group atmosphere. They have DeWanna Bonner coming off the bench. They have Alyssa Thomas, who's the triple-double machine, Satou Sabally, and I told you, Philadelphia's own, Kahleah Copper. That Phoenix Mercury team is ready to rock and roll, and I love the way they play basketball.
You called it. I was already talking about Liberty versus Minnesota, and you called it way ahead of the playoffs that Phoenix was a team to watch, and I knew they were a good basketball team. But watching them the way I watched them the first couple of games, I just think that the fact that the Liberty blew this opportunity, I think it's going to hurt them. I think you're right. I think Phoenix will take them out when they go back home.
I think it's pretty interesting that Satu Sabali is like the best name that we don't talk about. Like, she had 4 steals last night, 4 assists, 7 boards, 15 points, a plus 20. Like, she was all over the court last night. She absolutely hammered the Liberty. But it should be interesting. Tonight you have a couple game 3s. It'll be interesting to see. I just love your predictions on them. Fever Dream. The Dream are 6.5-point favorites at home in College Park.
Everything says that the Dream are the better basketball team, but I think because the Fever are playing with house money and they're just playing hoops, if the game is close, I'm going with the Fever. I don't know if the Dream can handle being a front runner and things get tight. I'm going to pick the Fever for the upset.
I love that. I would love the Fever to win that game. I'm going Dream. I'm going Alicia Gray. I think Ryan Howard gets it done at home, but we'll see how that game plays out. And another one, I know that an 8.5-point favorite is huge. The Aces are playing at home versus the Storm, 9:30 tonight, and you got to pick the Aces, right? The Aces have to win this game.
Let me rephrase this a better way. I want the Aces to win this game.
Okay.
I do. I want to see Asia win another title. I do. I fully admit that. I don't think the Aces win tonight. I think Seattle takes the Aces out. I think the Aces, the way that they lost the last game, I think that's a hangover. And when you look at the way Seattle is built, they're built to give a person like Asia Wilson problems. They're longer, they're more athletic. I think Seattle wins the series.
That is wild. That would be a huge upset considering how Las Vegas went into the playoffs.
I know.
I do want to remind you, Seattle has 3 bona fide scorers. They have Skylar Diggins, Nneka Agumake, and Gabby Williams. All 3 can put the ball in the basket. Let's see how that game plays out tonight. Obviously, we'll know a little bit longer. Aces had issues all year. Not the last 17 games of the season. You can't say all year because 25% of the season they were undefeated.
They were the best team in the league in the second half of the season by far. Not even close.
I like this question real quick. I do want to ask you, with the WNBA almost ending, do y'all see a collective bargaining agreement deal done, or will there be a lockout? If there's a lockout, how do you think that affects the WNBA?
I hope there's not a lockout, but all the language, all the comments, and the back and forth, everything points in a lockout. And I think that's a mistake on both sides. You're just now building up a core audience. You're bringing in casual fans. This is kind of your moment to launch your league forward. This is when everybody's got to buy into the fact we can build this league up and the revenue will go both ways to the owners and to the players. But if you go with a lockout, most sports fans, they'll walk away. And I don't know how many of the casuals will come back. I think it's a mistake to let it get to that point.
So, Mo, I was watching WNBA, and you know our living room set up. I've sent pictures to the group multiple times. We have 2 TVs and iPads. Sometimes we put a 3rd TV down there. We have multiple sporting events. But we were watching the WNBA playoffs, and this is something, maybe I'm tripping. I would love to hear your opinion of this. I had the volume on. Sometimes I don't have the volume on that game. I have the volume on the baseball game or the football game or whatever's going on. But I had the volume on. And when they go to commercial, they always play a song, right? They have a song that's played, like whatever that song is going in. Like they play a highlight of the last thing that happened, and then they have a song. For back-to-back commercial breaks, I felt like the WNBA or ESPN or whoever was doing a massive disservice. Because I read into small things. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm stupid, right? But one of the songs that they went to the break was "Give It to Me, I'm Worth It." Give it to me, I'm worth it. And in my mind, maybe I'm tripping, but like, are we really like making a play for more pay, a higher collective bargaining agreement through media ad? Is that like not like I love your opinion on that. I think "Give It to Me, I'm Worth It" is not the song we should be playing before a collective bargaining agreement.
I don't either. I think that's pandering on a whole nother level. You know what? If you're proud of your product and you're in the middle of your playoffs, rather than go that route, play music that all the players listen to or can relate to. Play some hip hop on an outro or something like that, going into a commercial. But don't do that. That kind of pandering is wild to me.
The second one, and I think this was a terrible move of the WNBA to begin with. Their role model, like not role model, what's their slogan for like the second half of the season was "Let her cook." I think that's a terrible slogan for the WNBA. I let her play. I understand what cook stands for, but like in the model of like giving women their respect in sports, having the slogan be "Let her cook" is a meme now.
Yeah, you could have went with something more simple. Let her hoop, let her play, not let her cook. You and I know what it means.
Yeah,
but a lot of people will think of it in another like cook, get on the grill or whatever. And I just wouldn't have gone there. And you would think that the people who are in charge of the WNBA's PR would be on top of that kind of stuff.
that's what I felt. All right. Let's move on to the NFL. Thursday is our pick'em segment. I told you every week that me and Mo do the morning show, we will be giving light to the WNBA as best as possible. Not just the WNBA, all women's sports. If there's a women's sport that we can cover, we will cover it. But this is a football Thursday. Thursday night football is upon us. And Mo, I want to not just pick the games. I want to pick every game this week with you. I want to pick the games against the point spread. I want to give predictions to see where you're at against the point spread. You never know. There might be someone listening right now that might be listening to Gina Mo's picks and saying, that's where I'm going to lay my bacon this weekend. So let's get rolling. Let's get game after game. Thursday night football, the Miami Dolphins. And by the way, Mike McDaniel is a very quotable coach right now. I got to pull the full quote up. It is really bad. You've seen the quote. I said it yesterday.
Yeah.
I want to read it to you fully. This is an NFL coach. He said, to win games, you have to win the game and not lose the game. Honestly, that is how you lose the game. That was a full quote. I did not change a word in that statement. Mike McDaniel is the coach of the Miami Dolphins, which, by the way, I told you when Mike McDaniel got that job, I will openly root against the Miami Dolphins for that exact reason of what they did to Brian Flores. They're going into Buffalo to take on the 2-0 Buffalo Bills. Buffalo, 30-10 victory over the Jets last week, a 41-40 victory over the Baltimore Ravens. Week 1, who do you got in this game and why? Spread's 11.5, by the way.
Yeah, I could say something crazy like I got the Dolphins pulling off the upset, but I don't. I don't. I got the Bills winning this game comfortably. They're just a better football team. Even if they don't play their A game, I still think they win comfortably.
Give me a score prediction.
I'll go 31-13.
So you have the under. I love the over in this football game. The over's 50 points. I would have it 31-13 if Matt Milano and Ed Oliver were playing. Two of the best defensive pieces for the Buffalo Bills will be out tonight. They're starting all-world defensive tackle and their middle linebacker, both out. I like the Bills to win the football game. I don't think their offense is going to be stopped. Miami couldn't stop New England's offense. Miami couldn't stop Indianapolis's offense. If you can't stop Daniel Jones and you can't stop Drake May, you're not stopping Josh Allen. I got the Buffalo Bills win this one, but a rather high-scoring game. Give me 38-24. I think Miami will score late. I think they'll score because of that Bills defense is a little injured. Short week. Give me the Bills to win this game by 14. I'll have them covering, but I also have the over hitting by a lot. Go into Sunday. The Green Bay Packers travel to Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland, Ohio, to take on the Cleveland Browns. The Packers are 7.5-point favorites in this football game. Do the Packers travel outside of Lambeau Field and hand the Cleveland Browns yet another loss?
They do. They're as good, if not better, than Cleveland on defense, and they're light years better than Cleveland on offense. They would have to completely implode on both sides of the football for this to be a competitive football game.
I agree with you. I also think Cleveland's got a very good defense.
I do too.
So I think this game will be lower scoring. I think the Packers win the game, but I don't think it's a blowout. I don't know if I have them covering. I think Cleveland keeps this game close. Give me 20-16 Packers.
That's a good score. I'll say this. I agree that it's close if Joe Flacco plays a clean game. It's close. If Joe Flacco doesn't play a clean game, it won't be close.
Indianapolis, 2-0. Daniel Jones. Cleveland Browns, number 1 defense so far. Yeah.
Okay.
Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones, travels to Tennessee to take on the number 1 draft pick, Cam Ward, and the Tennessee Titans. The spread's 4.5. Let me go first on this one, Mo. Daniel Jones has played great football. Shane Steichen is a very good offensive mind. This is not a good game for Indianapolis. I love Tennessee to cover in this football game. Do they win the game? I don't know. I think it'll be a field goal game one way or the other, but I love the Titans in this football game. I think that defense makes that Indianapolis Colts team punt not once, but multiple times. And I think Cam Ward will be able to move the ball down the field versus Indy. I think this is a 23-20 win. You can flip a coin who wins the game, but I'll take Indy on a last-second field goal.
I like Indy to win a close game. Look, they're not going to play the entire season without having to punt. So it was going to happen. Daniel Jones won't look like an MVP for the majority of the season. But if he does, that would be crazy. What is consistent is they have one of the better offensive line in football. And again, they have one of the 3 best running backs in football, Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to have a good football game. I think Indy wins a close physical game.
Love that. Jory's got Titans by 3. Jory, listen, I want to
be a homer. Don't be a homer.
No, I want to take the Titans outright. DJ always starts good and end up looking like Geno. Well, Geno played well for a few years. I don't know if I can agree with that. Here's what I'll say. I'll say that this Indianapolis Colts team reminds me a lot of last year's New Orleans Saints team. Started off really hot, and I don't think it's sustainable. Although I do like Shane Steichen. I'm a very Shane Steichen guy. I've watched Daniel Jones play throughout his whole career, and he's a slow processor. And when defenses change the mentality in the defense and they get more tape on what Shane Steichen's doing, they will adjust. I think that Daniel Jones is a very accurate quarterback. I don't want to say good. I almost said good. An accurate quarterback, and I think he can play within the system. But there's also defensive coordinators that are scheming up against you, and they're going to make you make quick decisions. And I don't think he'll be able to make those. So will take. I actually, you know what? Let me change it. I can change it. I'm going to take the Titans to win the game outright.
That's wild.
I talked myself into it.
You talked yourself into. Look, I agree with your point about Daniel Jones being a slow processor, but for any team that's just going to shut down their pass game, Indy's pass game, you got to stop Jonathan Taylor. You got to be able to get on top of those linemen before they get to your linebackers. And that's easier said than done because that's just how good their offensive line is. So I think Daniel Jones can have the type of game that I think he's going to be most of the season. I think he just needs to be a game manager. If he's a game manager behind that offensive line with Jonathan Taylor, like I said, I still see them win a lot of games.
Next game, the battle of the backup quarterback. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to travel to Minnesota and take on Brian Flores and the Minnesota Vikings. I say Brian Flores. I think he's the true MVP of that team. Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz. Are you ready for this 1 o'clock game? Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz. Who do you like in this game, Browning or Wentz?
Here's the crazy part, though. My confidence, and I'm consistent with this, my total confidence is in Brian Flores. That's my confidence.
I'm with you.
Brian Flores is going to get 2 or 3 picks off of Jake Browning. And they don't need Carson Wentz to turn back the clock and be MVP. Just play a clean football game. Matter of fact, I would say this: if Carson Wentz is able to look somewhat decent and play a clean football game, I don't know if JJ gets back in the starting lineup right away.
Browning versus Wentz, count me there. I think that Carson Wentz with Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson and being able to, I think that as long as he doesn't try to play hero ball and try to make plays that aren't there and takes what the defense gives him, that Cincinnati defense stinks. They're awful. As long as he doesn't play hero ball, Vikings should win this game rather easily.
I agree.
Damien asked me a question. Question for you about the tush push. I agree with everything you said. Well, let's say it was on the other foot and the Chiefs beat you on both games with the tush push. Would you be okay with it or have a problem with it like Chiefs fans? I would be okay with it. I'll tell you why I'd be okay with it. I've been very consistent with this. If it's a play that every other team in the NFL can run and they just can't run it effectively, then it shouldn't be a problem. It's a play that every team can run, but they do not have an all-pro left guard, a Pro Bowl center, and a quarterback that can squat 500 pounds. That's why they can't run it. That's an Eagles personnel thing. That is not a rules thing. I'm sorry that we developed a play with a very good left guard that used to play center at Alabama, a very good center, and a quarterback that can squat 500 pounds. That's why that makes that work. It's not illegal to be good at something. Thank you, though. Appreciate the question. Moving forward, I got the Vikings, by the way, covering. I don't picking a score in that game is really tough. 23-14.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be lower than that. I was gonna go 17-13, but I got you.
Pittsburgh Steelers go on the road playing at Gillette. They're 1.5-point favorites over the New England Patriots. Who do you like this one, Mo?
I know Pittsburgh defense will look really good this week. They can't look worse, right? The first two, they're gonna look better. But you know what? I'm gonna go with Vrabel and company to pull off an upset, if you want to call it an upset.
I love the Steelers in this football game. I think that the New England Patriots do not have the wide receivers to really take advantage of the age in the secondary for Pittsburgh. Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr., Jalen Ramsey should be able to lock them up one-on-one. They should not need extra help. And if that's the case, you can stack the box, blitz, generate pressure. I love the Steelers in this one. I think it's a rather easy game. I think Aaron Rodgers won't look great, but he understands he'll do enough to win the football game. I think the Steelers win this one rather comfortably, too. I'd go 27-13.
Okay. I got the Patriots winning. I'm going to go 20-13.
Okay. I tell you right now, they hold the Steelers 13, they're going to win that football game. The New York Jets and Tyrod Taylor travel to Tampa Bay to take on the 2-0 Buccaneers.
Tyrod Taylor's a unique guy. had a long career. He's had moments where he's looked really good, and then he's had moments where that's why he's a backup. I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers. I think the Jets, even though they do have a lot of talent, I don't think Tyrod Taylor can do some of the clearly he can't do some of the things athletically that Fields can do. I think the Tampa defense, even though they're down a couple of people, I think they find a way to get a couple of turnovers. And I think Baker and company with Bucky Irvin, Mike Evans, I think Tampa runs away. I'm gonna say Tampa wins comfortably 27-17.
It's a trap. It is a trap. I'm warning everybody it's a trap. The spread in that game is 6.5. What does that tell you, Mo? Well, Buccaneers can just win by a touchdown, and they can win the football game. 80% of the money is on the Buccaneers. It's a trap. You know who the Buccaneers play next week, Mo?
Who's
They play the Philadelphia Eagles.
big game?
World champs coming to town. The Jets are missing their starting quarterback. They're on the road. Buccaneers won a last minute heartbreak game back and forth on Monday Night Football. Buccaneers won. Emotional letdown, trap week. I love the Jets in this scenario. I don't necessarily think they win the football game, but I can almost assure you that they will cover. I'll go Buccaneers 24, Jets 21 in another classic.
Oh, you're right.
Next game on the agenda. We got a lot of 1 o'clock games. The Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are headed into Washington, into Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland, which, by the way, the Commanders are just got approval to move back to DC and redo RFK Stadium, which is very interesting. But in Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland, the Washington Commanders, who we don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to play or not. He's questionable. They're going to play. They're going to host the Las Vegas Raiders. He's day-to-day, they say. I think the Raiders go into Washington and win this football game, regardless who plays quarterback. I'll take Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, and the Raiders. Pete Carroll win this football game at Washington.
I think it's going to be a close football game. If I had to guess, I don't think Jaden Daniels plays. They're not going to. You're not going to put your future, your franchise quarterback at risk if he needs to take a week off or so. So I think it's a close game. I'm sure Geno is itching to get out there and bounce back because he was so bad.
He was terrible.
He was horrible. So I'm sure he's going to have a better game. But I will say this: the Raiders run game. They don't have a run game. It doesn't exist. And for that reason alone, I think Geno's going to be running for his life again. I'm going to go with the Commanders to win. I'll say they win 17-13.
Let's go, Sagan. I'll say I think this is Ashton Genty's coming out party. The Raiders running back. I think they will find a way to run the football. Las Vegas has played 2 games this year. Last week they played the Chargers, who for fun they like to stop the run. And the week prior they played New England, who's very good in the front 7. I think Genty has a coming out party this week, and I think that they run the ball effectively versus the Commanders.
I hope you're right. I've watched his first 2 games, and I hope this trend that he's on goes away. But so far, he's looked a lot more like Trent Richardson, and I wasn't high on him when he came out, and he ended up being what he was. I hope I'm wrong about Genty, but I watch him. He's really slow at the point of attack, and he runs tentative. So I hope the kid comes out of his shell.
We'll find out. The Atlanta Falcons travel to Carolina. Divisional game. Third lowest ticket on the docket.
That's
no one cares. $47. You can go to this game.
Exactly.
The Falcons at Carolina in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Falcons are 5.5-point favorites. What do you like in this one, Mo?
I want the Panthers to win, so I'm gonna go with the Panthers. because I'm a big Bryce Young believer. I hope they bounce back. I hope Chuba Hubbard can be effective in the run game to set Bryce up more for play action. So I'm going to go with the Panthers in a close game because I think these two teams are very similar. I don't have anything against Michael Penix because I think he has talent, but I don't know if he's ready yet to be a starting quarterback. He is, but I don't know if he's ready yet. So we'll see.
Something that's not talked about enough is Raheem Morris's defense. I think the Atlanta Falcons defense is completely revamped. And you better hope that Chuba Hubbard can run the ball because that's a no-fly zone down there in Atlanta. I know it's in Carolina, but Carolina's looked terrible for 7 out of 8 quarters this year. In the fourth quarter, they made a huge attempt at a comeback last week versus the Cardinals. That was aided by an awful Kyler Murray interception. But I like the Falcons to win this football game. I think it's low scoring. I don't think Penix needs to do a lot. I just think they need to hand the ball off to Bijan Robinson and allow them to control the clock. I'll take the Falcons in that one. Last 1 o'clock game before we get into the granddaddy. The Houston Texans are 0-2. They're going to go on the road to play at Jacksonville, 1-1. And the lowest ticket in the house is $32. You can go see that game for less than it costs to park. Texans at Jaguars.
I want the Texans to win. I'm a big DeMeco Ryan fan. I have all the faith in the world. Their defense is tremendous. Their defense has done their job. The problem is the offense isn't living up to its billing. And I know we had Coach on the other day who's a huge Texan fan. He thinks the offensive line looked pretty good because they only gave up 2 sacks. My eyes told me that they were awful, and C.J. Stroud was running for his life every play. So while they only gave up 2 of the sacks because he looked like he was in a 40-yard dash every play. I think that the Texans lose the game because I think their offense it can't move the football. And while I'm not a big Jacksonville fan, I'm a bigger fan of what Jacksonville can put out there in terms of offense than the Texans can. So unless Sunshine is going to turn the ball over multiple times, I don't see how the Texans can win.
It's definitely possible. I'll take the Texans in this one. I think they're the better football team. I think they bounced back. I think they're the more desperate football team. Something stood out to me about the Jaguars last week. The Jaguars lost a game in which Joe Burrow left in the first half. The Jacksonville Jaguars lost a game in which Sunshine had a really bad turnover, but also the wide receivers had 2 of the worst. I think Brian Thomas Jr. has the yips. I don't know what's going. Maybe he's like worried that Trevor Lawrence is going to hang him out and he's going to get knocked out by one of these corners, but he's got the yips. De'Ami Brown dropped a touchdown pass that you would catch. There wasn't anybody within 3 yards of him. Right in the hands, right here, touchdown pass, dropped it. They go for it on 4th down. Brian Thomas Jr. drops a pass, hit him right in the chest. Liam Cohen's yelling at Trevor Lawrence to play prior to hit him in the chest and not hit him over his head. And Trevor Lawrence is waving him off, does one of these things to him. I think some of those Jaguars receivers are absolutely scared they're going to get knocked out of the game because Trevor Lawrence is throwing them hospital balls. And I think that they have the yips. And that sucks. And if that's the case, I like the Texans in this one. Give me C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Give me Derek Stingley. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, winning has followed him. Defenses have gotten better year after year when he's on that defense with that attitude. I'll take the Texans to go into Jacksonville and win that football game. All right. The 1 o'clock game, it's probably the game of the day. The Los Angeles Rams, highest ticket of the day, by the way. Actually, second highest ticket of the day. The Bears have creeped past. $197 to get into the game at minimum. The Los Angeles Rams travel to Philadelphia and Lincoln Financial Field to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The spread is 3.5. You get 3 points for being the home team. What Vegas is telling you is that the Eagles are a half a point better than the Rams on a neutral field. When I look at something like that, I say, ooh, they're trying to get me to bet the Eagles. I don't like that. I think this is a really good football game. Matthew Stafford having 2 X-type options on the outside with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. They're going to give Philadelphia problems because here's the truth, right? Cooper DeJean lines up in the slot. Those guys both line up on the outside. Quinyon can take away one of them or slow down one of them. But the Eagles are playing cornerback by committee at cornerback too. I've never seen it before. Like, Dory Jackson, you go out there. Like, I've never seen that before. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. A lot of people talked about the Eagles' offense not throwing the ball downfield. I think the way to beat the Rams is throw the ball downfield. So I'd love to hear your take here. I have the Eagles winning this game by a field goal. I got a 30-27 Philadelphia.
I really could go either way. Although I think the Rams obviously have a better passing offense. The Eagles have a better running offense. They haven't really unlocked Saquon this year. I thought he ran hard against KC, but last year he's averaging almost 6 yards a carry. This year he's not even averaging 4 yards a carry. The offense seems to be stalled out. I think this is the game to me where we see Jalen Hurts step up and have a big passing game. He's going to have to. They're going to sell out stopping Saquon. They're going to have to be able to push the ball down the field. I think it's a high-scoring game as well, but I'll go Rams. Oh, somebody stole my score. I was going to say 31-24.
That's my man, Gio.
Yeah,
I've never seen a cornerback by committee before. Never seen it before. It's the first time I've ever seen it. They're like, Adoree Jackson, you go out there. Ja'Cory and Betty, you're next. Like, they're literally running like running backs. Running back by committee. They're running cornerback 2 by committee. I've never seen it before.
And you guys are familiar with the Rams. I mean, to me, the Rams is real simple. If you don't get to Stafford, you're losing. It really is that simple. You have to get to Stafford.
I don't remember the last time the Rams beat us. I really don't. I think every time we play them, we beat them. It's not a slight to the Rams. It's just I don't remember the last time they won. We beat them in LA. We beat them in Philadelphia. We beat them in LA. We beat them in LA. The game Carson Wentz tore his ACL. We beat them in LA. Like, I don't remember the last time the Rams beat the Eagles. Maybe it will happen this Sunday. We'll see. Gio, I understand. I would hate the Eagles also if I was a Rams fan. Next, 4 o'clock games on the docket. Not a lot of good ones. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'll skip what I think is the best one and go over the next 3. You're going to laugh when you hear the game of the week. But the New Orleans Saints take on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Seattle's a 7.5-point favorite. Sam Darnold versus Spencer Rattler. Oh, yeah, that was in Philadelphia, the Higbee 3-touchdown game. That might have been 2020. I like that. Good pull, Gio.
I think it's gonna be a close game. I can't see myself going with the Saints. Although for fun, I could, but I think Seattle actually has a really good defense. And if their running game stays consistent, they give Sam Darnold some breathing room. I'm going to say the Seahawks find a way to pull out a win. I think they win comfortably, 24-13.
I don't think this game's close. So Clint Kubiak is the offensive coordinator for Seattle Seahawks. He used to be the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. This is the Clint Kubiak game. I think they run it up. I think Seattle wins this game by 100, maybe 75. I think this game's an absolute blowout. I don't think Spencer Rattler will be able to move the ball versus that Seattle secondary. This will not be a football game. JSN goes off. Kenneth Walker goes off. 47-6 Seattle.
That's crazy.
Hey, listen, when you see the scores at the end of Sunday, it probably won't be that lopsided, but I think it's going to be awful. I think this game's going to be a blowout of the week. America's Game of the Week, which, by the way, the Eagles-Chiefs America's Game of the Week broke records. Highest Week 2 matchup of all time. Highest matchup in the NFL in September and October that wasn't a primetime matchup like a 8 o'clock or Monday Night Football. 38 million viewers.
That doesn't shock me.
America's they followed it up with a doozy, Mo. You know what America's game of the week is this week? The 1-1 Dallas Cowboys are traveling to Chicago to play the 0-2 Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, a doozy. The funny thing is, it's going to get good ratings because you and I both know Cowboys have a huge following. They have a huge, so I'll give them that.
The Cowboys are only a 1.5-point favorite here. What you're telling me is that the Cowboys are 4.5 points better than the Bears on a neutral field. That's crazy.
So last week I went with the Bears, and they were not good.
No, not good.
And so it's a quarterback-driven league. Dak's a better quarterback. I think he's got a better receiving tandem. I think the Cowboys win. It might end up being a shootout, but not like in the high 30s. Let's say Dallas wins 28-24.
I don't know if that Bears defense can stop anyone. The way they looked last week versus the Detroit Lions, the celebrations that the Lions were putting on them. Did you see the celebration they put on them? Did you see the one? They score a touchdown and the entire team runs a group celebration of Ben Johnson's play call of the fake fall of Jared Goff. The whole team ran a celebration of that play call to throw it in the face of their old offensive coordinator.
That was so personal, man.
That was wild. I've never seen a celebration like that. I even typed in, I'm like, did the Bears get fired? Or did the Lions get fined for this celebration? That's America's game of the week, though. I'll go Bears by a field goal because I can't stomach picking the Cowboys.
I hope the Bears win.
So do I. Screw Dallas. A matchup of two undefeated teams in the 4 o'clock hour. The 2-0 Arizona Cardinals travel into Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, to take on, is it the Mac and Cheese 49ers? Or is Brock Purdy back this week? I don't know. But the spread indicates that Brock Purdy will not be playing. It's a 2.5-point spread for San Fran. Purdy was playing. I would assume that number would be about 5.5 or 6. I'm just going to assume Mac Jones is playing. I still like the 49ers in this one. Robert Saleh.
You said the name the same way I feel about Flores. I feel about Robert Saleh. I think he'll gas the defense up. When you're playing against Kyler Murray, what's the first thing you have to do? You have to be disciplined in your rush lanes. You have to be disciplined in your rush lane. They will be. And I think Mac Jones will be rock solid again. Not spectacular, but solid. I think the Niners win 2017.
I like it. Best 4 o'clock game, in my opinion. The Denver Broncos travel to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, to take on the Los Angeles Superchargers. 1-1 Broncos should be 2-0. I mean, you got to tell me that's a you got to be kidding me moment. A 60-yard field goal, you're jumping over the center to try to block it and get a leverage call, 15-yard penalty, and lose the football game? Mo, or is this guy out of his mind? Did you see that?
That was crazy. No, that was crazy. Look, you're right. This should be 2 undefeated teams. And I think this game could go either way. I will say this, to this point, Denver's defense hasn't really lived up to the billing. Not yet. Not to this point in the season. I'm going to go with the team that I said would win the division. So I'm going to go with the Chargers. I'm going to trust in Jim Harbaugh. Their running game has not been effective at all to this point, but Jim Harbaugh is a big believer of the run. So I still think they're going to give the ball to Amari and Hampton 20 times. They're going to try to find a way to run the ball, but I trust in their defense and Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers win a really close football game. I'm going to say 24-23.
I've said this before the season started. I'll say it again. The Chargers are the best team in the AFC West. Bo Nix has not looked great this year. He didn't look great this past week. PFF gave him a laughably low rating. The run game has been decent. I expected more out of RJ Harvey. Jim Harbaugh's a winner. The game's in SoFi. Give me the Chargers. I'll take the Superchargers to win the game. I'll take the Superchargers to win the division. I'll take the Superchargers to go to 3-0. Give me the Los Angeles Superchargers. Sunday Night Football. Mo, I hope I'm right. The Kansas City Chiefs are traveling to New York for the Giants home opener in East Rutherford, New Jersey. MetLife Stadium. Chiefs are 6.5-point favorites at New York. Russell Wilson versus Patrick Mahomes. Sunday Night Football. I said that the Chiefs would start 1-3. This was the one win that I gave them. I think they should win this football game comfortably at New York, and then they play Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens next week. I like the Chiefs in this game, but this is definitely a look-ahead game. If they weren't 0-2, it would be a lot more of a trap game than it is. They have to come out of here with a win.
I'm with you. I think the Chiefs win a tough game, but I think they win. Look, what I know is the way Spags and that defense are, Russ is not throwing for 400 yards. Let's start there. He's not throwing for 300 yards. Probably, if he at best, he's going to throw in the low twos. My guess is he throws for under 200 yards. But the Giants defense comes to play, and that front four is what they should be. I think it will be a close, low-scoring game, but I think the Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs know they need this win. I think they find a way to get it done.
It doesn't look like Tyrone Tracy is going to play. He's hurt. Cam Scatterbo is getting a lot of the first-team work. Malik Neighbors looked awesome last week.
He did.
I think that I'll tell you right now, another you got to be kidding me. Did you watch James Hudson this past week? The offensive lineman for the New York Giants?
The guy with all the penalties?
He had 4 penalties on the first drive. And then when Brian Dable pulled him out of the game, he started flipping out at him, just going nuts. He swung full punch at a Cowboys defender, jumped off sides, another personal foul by pressing the guy's face mask into the dirt after the play was over, and then another holding call. 4 penalties on the opening drive. And then when this coach pulls him out of the game, the announcers, oh, God, is that Hudson again? They got to take him out of the game. They take him out of the game, and he starts flipping out on the coach. That's a you got to be kidding me moment.
What school did Hudson go to?
Cincinnati.
Okay, I was just making sure it wasn't another Alabama guy because, they're incredibly they're incredibly talented but very temperamental.
Not disciplined. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Andrew Thomas looks like he should return this week. Giants starting left tackle. Oh, no, Thomas unlikely. Neighbors will play. That's 2 weeks ago. I don't know if Andrew Thomas will be back this week. That's a big ask. If you have your left tackle in that football game, I think it's a different story. John Runyon's questionable. 3/5 of the Giants' offensive line is questionable for this week. That's not a good sign.
Russ is getting sacked 5 times at minimum.
5 times. Booker T.
5
times.
Exactly. At least 5 times he's getting folded up.
Jory said you're talking about Georgia, buddy.
Nah, I'm talking about Bama too.
Listen, both of them have that.
Maybe it's an SEC thing all the way around.
Georgia definitely has undisciplined players. She's absolutely correct about that.
She's right. They do a lot of stuff off the field. That's for sure.
Monday Night Football, in my opinion, game of the week. The Detroit Lions headed into Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium. The only concern I have with the Ravens is when that schedule comes out and you see week 4 at Arrowhead, that's circled on your schedule. Now, Lamar Jackson, but fun trivia question. Lamar Jackson has lost to 2 NFC teams in his career in the regular season. Can you name those 2 teams?
I could not, but I'm assuming one of them is Detroit.
One of them is the Philadelphia Eagles last year, and the other one is the Wink Martindale-led New York Giants.
Well, that's why nobody would ever guess that.
That's the fun one. Lamar Jackson doesn't lose to the NFC. In fact, the last time he played Detroit and M&T, the Ravens won the game 38-6. Monday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens host the Detroit Lions. Your thoughts?
I think this is one of those where the rubber hits the road games, because we're going to find out, is Detroit's offense all the way back? And is their defense as good as it looked last week versus an inept Bears offense? Because the Ravens offense, that's not their problem. Their problem is that defense with all that talent hasn't lived up to the billing quite yet. I'm going to go with the Ravens to pull off the win. I don't think it's an upset. You could call it either way because these are 2 high-powered offenses, but I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think between Lamar, between Derrick Henry, I think the Ravens control the clock and they control the game.
I like the Ravens a lot in this one. I think they win the football game. I think they win it rather easily, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think the Detroit Lions go 9-8 this year, and in order for them to go 9-8, they got to lose this game. So give me the Ravens to beat the Lions. That's it for NFL week. We'll talk about it, obviously, a little bit more on Sideline to Sideline tonight. I do want to ask you a couple fun questions. I know that you are a casual Dodgers fan, but you can probably not help but notice some of the things that have happened in LA as far as their overall, their bullpen has been atrocious. They're starting pitching you can put up against anyone. You know, when you run out Yamamoto, Blake Snell, like they have a very good starting rotation, but their bullpen has been terrible. You have Glasnow, Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Kershaw as your 5. The Dodgers are talking about moving Shohei Ohtani to the bullpen come playoffs because he's not pitching more than 5 innings anyway to help with their bullpen issues. The Los Angeles Dodgers won last night 5-0 over the Philadelphia Phillies after losing the first 2 games of the series to Philly. They're 85-67. That's a far cry from where they were expected to be this year. However, they're just about to lock in a postseason berth. They're 2 games up on the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers, are they in somewhat of turmoil? 85-67 is not what we expected out of a team that was one of the best overall teams to ever assemble. You know, you look at this team, you got all-stars everywhere. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani is going to win back-to-back MVPs. Teoscar Hernandez, Michael Conforto, Max Muncy, Tommy Edman, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Glasnow, Snell, Kershaw. I know I'm reading out names to you. I'd love to hear what your take is on the Dodgers moving Ohtani to the bullpen.
I don't think it's a crazy move, and I think it's great because they desperately need help in the bullpen. And you're right. He pitches less than 5 innings anyway. Why not? Anything that's going to help you going into the postseason is a plus. I think it's a great move doing that. They need some energy. They need something coming out of that bullpen because you just named off their pitchers. It's crazy when you have Clayton Kershaw and he's not your main guy anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that's the crazy part. And yet only 85 wins. And while I'm a casual fan, my uncle is an avid fan, and all he does is bitch and moan about their record and what they should be and how much money they're pulling out there, paying out there. And I always laugh at him and go, when is what the Dodgers do in terms of payroll ever matter?
Never.
You know what I mean? Like, why would that's all they do. That's all the Dodgers and Yankees do is throw money out there. I think the Dodgers making this move, I wouldn't call it a panic move, but they're a desperate team. And I think it's a smart move. They need something going into the postseason.
I have one last fun thing for you to get your. I just want to get your live reaction of this. Kyler Murray has come under heat for posting a photo on Instagram of him and his pit bull wearing a Michael Vick jersey from college. He's later taken the picture down and deleted it and sent out an apology. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Michael Vick, notoriously known for racketeering and I don't want to say murdering pit bulls, but that's essentially what he did. And Kyler Murray posting this photo on his Instagram. Is this tone deaf or stupidity, or did he just not realize what he was wearing?
No, I would argue he knew exactly what he was wearing. I don't think he even knew to a degree what the moment meant. I think he thought it was funny. I do. Look, we can both agree how talented Kyler Murray is, but we can also agree how immature he is. He's a talented dude, but as a person, he comes off as kind of like a punk. I think it was terrible. It was tone deaf, and it's tone deaf because we know what Michael Vick did was terrible. I don't know how you make light of that and try to make that into like a meme or a joke.
Kyle said he would have been better off posting a picture of watching game film wearing a Call of Duty shirt.
Imagine that, him watching game film.
I've never seen that clause added to a quarterback's contract. I thought that was incredibly telling of Kyler Murray. I just wanted to get your take on that. I think it's just a dumb photo. I can't believe you could be that tone deaf to understand what you're doing. And the part that I guess stands out is the fact that he did the double-sided photo. He wore the photo, he took the photo, and then he took the back of it, so you knew it was a Vick jersey. That part just, like, if you want to wear a number 7 jersey and we got to figure out who that was, it's not a Falcons number 7, that's a Virginia Tech number 7. Who was that, by the way? I don't know. But, like, to take the photo of the back so we all knew that it was Michael Vick is, I don't know.
He went out of his way, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's all I got this morning, Mo. Any final thoughts, comments?
No, just excited for the weekend. I'm going to watch some more of the WNBA postseason. Can't wait till Sunday. And I appreciate all the energy and all the responses in the comments from the chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jory, Damian, Kyle. Appreciate you guys so much. ECJ, all of you guys. Cottrell, appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week's. Nothing wrong with a little drip. Oh, got that.
Cottrell's wild.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Coffee and Sports in the Morning. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak, and that is the man that knows better. It's Mo Better. Mo, close us out.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Hey, make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you.
Take care, y'all.